Good day, online friends. I just want to share a small section of my book, 6 Months, First Edition. 6 Months, First Edition. And this is the revised version. I'll start from chapter 6, and it's the last paragraph. I'll begin at the last paragraph of page 126, and I see how far I go from there. But what is true love? Can love change? Is there any truth in the idea that love never dies? How will this be tested? Can one really fall out of love? What really causes love? What is love's true nature? These were some of the questions that constantly paraded the cerebrum and cerebellum of Joe's mind. He also pondered whether Jolie had similar curiosities. As a consequence of these questions, and indeed, because of the general way in which this couple got so deeply enamored, Joe started to give the topic of love some deeper thought than that which touches the heart. He started to engage his brain. He started to read up and research on the subject of love and romance. He discovered some quite interesting thoughts and expressions on the matter of love. His research showed that, according to Lope de Vega, harmony is pure love, as love is a concerto. How to find great love or reignite the love you have through the power of numerology, 2009, page 277. This gave Joe even more questions than answers. What does harmony is pure love mean? Joe still was not sure. Victor Hugo established that the most powerful symptom of love is a tenderness that sometimes becomes almost insupportable. Edge Tools of Speech, 1899, page 495. A tenderness that becomes almost insupportable. With the love between Joe and Jolie, or put it another way, the tenderness between them becomes so stretched that it loses its elastic state and accordingly becomes hard to maintain. Only time would tell, Joe thought. Would there be other future big challenges? And if so, will the love between the two lose its elasticity and tenderness, was Joe's thought. He felt compelled to continue to research on other thoughts and love by the great scholars of all time. He found out that Alexander Smith stated that love is but the discovery of ourselves in others and the delight in the recognition. Dreamthorpe, A Book of Essays, 1863, page 174. Joe questioned that if love is as defined by Alexander Smith, is love among two people as unique as we would want to believe? Is it not possible that is it not possible that one may discover one's being in more than one person? Does that not stand to reason that love is not at all that special or unique? In extension, and in reference to this formidable couple, is there any guarantee that each member of this couple of Joe and Jolie will always just feel attached to each other? This thought process caused some nervousness on Joe's part. The reality and reminder that the two met on the social network of Facebook caused some concerns. What to prevent my Jolie falling in love with others on Facebook in which she sees her own self, he thought. Facebook, with its millions of subscribers, does lend itself for its members to bump into millions of others who may reflect carbon copies of oneself. How would such an encounter influence the overwhelming outflow of love between them as a couple, as currently experienced, was his thought. Could he, Joe, also be trapped by this reality as defined by Alexander Smith? Joe became uneasy. He wanted to keep on researching if there were any definitions on love by the great scholars that defined or framed love as something totally opposite to Alexander Smith's findings or thoughts. Joe's research on love and romance took him to encounter the fascinating words of Sarah Bernhardt in A Treasure of the World's Great Letters, 1940. Your words are my food, your breath my wine. You are everything to me. These words were written by Victorien Sardou, a dramatist. The words edged along Joe's thoughts as he rummaged them over and over in his head and heart. He, being himself a man gifted with words, was quite impressed by the meaning and uniqueness of the inner and deeply embedded thought entwined in those 14 words. Joe quickly discovered that in Sarah's words, love would have already been established, and accordingly, and subsequently, the words and activities would lend themselves to the elation of love, not different from the deeply embedded love that obtains between Joe and Jolie, whose words and deeds bring about the precise feeling and reaction as noted by Sarah Bernhardt. Joan Crawford, as quoted, had this to say: love is a fire, but whether it's going to warm your heart or burn down your house, you can never tell. It was without question in Joe's heart that Crawford's statement on love was indeed true. Joe had fallen in love and had had his house burnt down as a direct result of it. There was no indication at the outset that such a love would have resulted in the burning down of one's house, so to speak. Even in his current love with Jolie, there had been warming of each other's hearts, but there had been some burning of the house as well, even if not in its entirety. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry in La Petite Prince, 1943, chapter 21, had this to say on love: it is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. Joe agreed to a certain extent, but also felt that how the heart discerns someone or falls in love is triggered and initiated through the eyes or other senses, until the heart fully takes over. He thought that in the case of Jolie and himself, it was the sensations perceived through the eyes and other senses via Facebook, Skype, emails, etc., that initiated the feeling of adoration and affinity to each other. Once this was perceived through the eyes and other senses, the heart kicked in, so to speak, and left them both breathlessly and uncontrollably in love. It was for these reasons that despite the oppositions of others close to Jolie, it was difficult to rip them asunder. Love is a powerful instrument that conquers all, was Joe's suspicion. However, the research on his part did not lead him at this point to anything from the scholars to affirm this belief on his part, so he continued to research. Okay, I'll stop there. So that's an excerpt from 6 months first edition. This is the revised version, and that excerpt was taken from chapter 6 of my book, 6 months first edition. Thank you very much. Have a great day.